Okay. Okay. So I'm looking for this. Let me see if I can get it. Yeah, this is it. As we all know, today is the
So you just finished casting your votes and quite a large turnout in your ward and your unit. How do you feel about this?
Very happy. That means that people identify with the election, and people are also worried that there are no elected people at the grassroots. And so today is the opportunity for them to choose who would represent them at the local government level, from the councillorship to the chairmanship position. I have to say with this, I watched particularly your outfit when
the
you are saying
channels.
that
Okay.
that party. That is not correct. We should have the experience of Nigerian voters in elections. You
Mm.
have general elections, which is being conducted by INEC. You have local elections, which is being conducted by the State Independent Electoral Commission. And you know that most cases, elections start from 10 o'clock in the morning. So when you go to a polling booth by 9 and you think you expect people to come out by that time, that is not the usual case. I watch you when you said a Ward 13, which is Bola. That is purely a commercial area. You didn't go to the residential areas. I also expect that you go to the rural areas like
Oh, this is
HA
Lyria. Huh?
local government, like Ikure local
Oh.
government, Emoha local government. Go to areas like Akukotora, Saletoro, go to Abuodua, go to Ahoda East, Ahoda West, and see what is going on. Don't just, we have about 7,000 polling units, and you just go and take 2 polling units in the commercial city, and that you know that there are no residents there. And then you judge that there's a party. But you can see what has happened there now. So also it is in all other units. Yes, you can have some units, you may not have people who may turn. That does not mean that out of 7,000 units, you have that same. No, it's not correct. And then I've also heard of you talk about, oh, because there's no BVAS. We have also complained in the general election of the problems of the BVAS. And instead of you to praise research, look at the security agencies. You have not heard of any violence. You've not heard of carrying of the ballot boxes. You see the electoral materials are there. People are casting their votes. Commend them. As far as you are concerned, this election is peaceful. As far as you are concerned, people are trooping out. By the time the election will close, you will see the number of persons. So we're very happy.
So what's the essence of doing elections when the president can just, through the wave of his pen, say, "Oh, the state governor is suspended," and I think that's what bothers most people with respect to this election. Like, you have currently the person sitting as the governor of the state being like an ex-first member, right? The rightly elected governor is being suspended at the moment. So now the question is, how do we square that? Okay, with such kind of situation. And again, local government election, I don't even know how well the people really, take this election with respect to, with all seriousness. And and I think that's one of the problems. So maybe, again, I agree with him, like, you can't just come early before the election, before the ballot casting time, and then say, "Oh, people are not voting." Like, I know there's always this narrative, you want to kind of push it, like, okay, fine, this is what is happening. But now we're gonna see the numbers, compare the numbers to what happened during the states election, and then you can then make up your mind to know if people are really interested in the process or not. I think personally that the local government election should be the most important election in the country, because that's the nearest office to the people, right? And but then I think with local government having some level of autonomy now with the autonomy bill, wherein the funds for the local government comes from the president, sorry, not from the president, but from the federation straight to the local government chairman. I think there will be much more interest in what happens at the local government level.
This election has, at the end of the day, that have been conducted very peacefully and successfully.
So what's next for River State after here?
Of course, what it means that I do know that by 18th of September that the state of emergency will expire, And then that will mean that the state governor and the state assembly will come back to their job, and then we had representatives at the grassroots level. Remember, the Supreme Court had nullified the other election. And so if this election was not conducted, it will mean that there will be no representative at the grassroots level, which would
So
not
why
be
don't you
acceptable by the people.
So why don't we wait for the rightful governor? I'm just saying, why don't we wait for the rightful governor to come in and then conduct the elections? Again, the argument could be local government is separate from the states. But I'm also saying that is the election being held such that they suspect that the rightful governor, which is Fubara, right, would have more sway on the outcome of the local government election if he's not sworn in, but if he resumes office post suspension. So why are they front loading this? Why don't you just wait, for him to be back? But I guess that's the reasoning. I'm thinking that's my own take. Okay, you can disagree with me, but that's my own take with respect to this election.
So having done this, then the cost is clear for the state of emergency to be lifted, meaning that the local government has representatives, the state government has its own elected representative. So we're good to go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So you've seen that, you've heard that. Well, let's see if we've got any other thing.
If you want to build an app and have no idea how to code or where to start, check out Base 44. I built this daily habit tracker that helps users log small wins, track their mood, reflect on past entries, and see how far they've come.
Typing like this. Let's see. Under curfew and court battles. Let me see if I can look at the court rejects bid to halt exercise. Oh.
Evening, Dakbo. How you doing?
All right, great. So, Austin, let me, of course, ask you, what part of Rivers State are you at the moment, and what's the situation right now?
All right, we are currently at Ahoda West local government area of Rivers State, and the atmosphere here seems like expectations. Most respondents we spoke to, some had, of course, there was a mixed reactions towards the expectations about tomorrow. While we have some individuals who have indicated interest that they will be going to the poll tomorrow to exercise their political franchise. Others are indifferent with their choice. Some are actually saying that they are likely not going to the poll tomorrow. They have their own personal reservations. However, some of them equally stated the obvious that that the election might likely going to be in one political party based on the the political arrangement that has been instituted during the electionary process, electionary period. But a couple of others we met on ground here at Ahoda West local government area. They were quite hopeful, and they are equally stating their readiness for them to go to the polls tomorrow. Of course, earlier today we went around the states. We are at the RISEC office where we saw some individuals, those who are supposed to conduct the elections tomorrow. That's the ad hoc staff. We saw a large numbers of them at the entrance of at the entrance of RISEC office, and we equally went down to the Ahoda East local government area. That's the RISEC office at Ahoda East local government area. We equally saw some individuals who are equally complaining that most of their names that they went for training, that they were surprised that most of their names were not found on the list. And we saw the security personnel at the local government area as well. And it's expected that materials will start arriving sooner or later tonight. Those sensitive materials that will be taken to their various polling units. And home and dry, the environment is quite calm. Everyone seems to be going about their lawful duties, and the main deal there is coming up tomorrow. So hopefully we are looking forward to see tomorrow how tomorrow may likely turn out to be like. So this is just the general atmosphere here at Ahoda West local government area of Rivers State ahead of the local government elections tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's cool. Let me see the monitoring here.
इंडिया आया था, सोचा इस बार फाइनली किसी के साथ शायद बात बन जाए. हमने 4 मीटिंग्स भी कराई, बट
yeah, okay. It's monitoring. Let's see what's happening. Okay. This is the military guy, the administrator. Let's see. Wow. Okay, that's it. But I think I can see. So beavers was not being used. That's crazy. The full democracy. Okay, let me see this one. Questions on beavers. Let me see.
He said it's an elections happening within a unique.
Why wouldn't they use beavers, bro? Why won't beavers be used? Oh, I don't know.
Situation, and I think it's very important, and we clearly identify that the state government in Rivers State at the moment is unconstitutional because our constitution, like I said, I've always said this, the system existing currently is alien to our constitution. However, the local government elections are required to be held by the constitution also. If you remember that this was an election that was annulled, or rather the October 2024 elections that held at the local government level was annulled by the Supreme Court in February this year. And the Supreme Court had highlighted several grounds for its decision, why that decision was taken. And so if you look at what is happening in Rivers State, one, I'm happy that finally the local government election is happening because we believe in a democratic process where citizens can choose their leaders at the local government level. But then it's not just about the elections happening, it's about the quality of the process. And I think that is where the bigger question is. If, for instance, the decision of the Supreme Court to upturn the last local government election that was held was because the elections, as it had said, the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission at the time did not follow the procedure required by the Electoral Act, then the expectation is that these elections should be conducted in a way that there is due compliance with the Electoral Act, because our Electoral Act in sections 150 has clearly stated that local government elections must be conducted in the same manner as the area council elections are conducted at the Federal Capital Territory. And it says the procedure that regulates area council elections must regulate local government elections henceforth, which is one of the reasons there's an advisory to states to review their state electoral laws to comply with the electoral. So simple things around procedure. If you go to Part 6 of the Electoral Act, it highlights the procedure for local government elections. And then it's clear that the procedure of conducting general elections should apply to local government elections. So as simple as things like the deployment of the bimodal voter accreditation system for accrediting voters ought to be part of the local government elections now by the provisions of the Electoral Act, and with the logic of the decision of the Supreme Court, which said that because that local government election of last year did not comply with the procedure in the Electoral Act, that the elections cannot be said to be valid, which that was what the court said. And so following the news today and following the reports from the field in Rivers and observing that there is the application of, the manual accreditation of voters without a compulsory use of the BVAS, raises a bigger question on the procedure for the elections complying with the legal framework for elections. And so that's a big question. What is the quality of the elections that will be conducted if the rules of
so I'm gonna consult here. I'm gonna consult here because I to be honest with you, I don't even have a clue as to how. I'm gonna come back to the Sarah issue. Let me just consult and ask like how does not usage of beavers, and I'm learning too, right? How does the non-usage of beavers vis-a-vis the electoral law impact the local government? Is it constitutional? Is it constitutional or not? Because the argument, is that it might not comply with the constitutional law. I'm just saying. Just put Nigeria there, just see. Again, I'm saying I'm not so sure that
games are not adequately applied in the local government election. The second thing is around
again, I'm all for beavers. Okay, let's get this straight. I'm all for beavers. I believe beavers is even much more important than iron. Beavers is a way where you can actually get accreditation, and it's like there's a two-way thing. That's why it's called beavers, and there's no way you can kind of manipulate that. And I think that was one of the reasons why the 2023 presidential election, when it comes to the number of total voters, was lower than the one before that, because that allowed you to ensure that you don't have ghost voters or people that are voting that are not real. Now, the rigging, if there was any, based on that election, was based on the total accredited voters. So that was why, most of the claim by those that went to court was that there was some kind of manipulation subject to the max that was allowed by the BVAS system. Let me see what we've got in. Okay, in Rivers State could raise concerns. So the non-use of beavers by modal voter registration system would raise concern about the constitutionality and compliance with the Nigeria Electoral Act 2022. But the issue is nuanced and depends on the specific legal framework. Okay, so that's it. It's kind of nuanced, but I'm going to read further. Below is an analysis of the situation, okay, based on the Electoral Act 2022 and the context of local government elections in Rivers. So number one, let's look at the legal framework. Jurisdiction of INEC versus SIEC. INEC is responsible for the federal and state election. Okay, however, local government election falls under the purview of the State Independent Electoral Commission, established by the under Section 197 of 99. So the state takes care of the local government electoral stuff. Again, if this is under the states, and I understand that the governor shouldn't really have, an influence with respect to picking winners or losers, how come that we're convenient in having this election under an administrator? How are we sure that the administrator is, not screwing the election in one way or the other? Okay, so in Rivers State, the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission conducts LG elections. Application of this law. I'll read that. While it sets standards for electoral processes, including the BVAS, its direct application to SIEC is limited unless explicitly adopted by state law. So the state is in charge of the local government elections. Okay, INEC is in charge of what? The federal government and the state election. Now, as long as the state laws has not recognized BVAS as applicable, then there is certain limitation. You cannot go and, challenge the non-use. Now, you could challenge it in such a way that, you can challenge it verbally. You can challenge it based on raising concerns. You can challenge it based on reasons to say, if you want people to have more faith in the system, use BVAS. But if you go to court and say, oh, why didn't they use BVAS? Then there's going to be a problem. Why? Because each state has its own electoral law, and that may not mandate the use of BVAS or similar technology. Now, okay, so, and I think that's just it. Yeah, it helps with electoral integrity, which is good, but then implication of non-use of that, constitutionality concerns. Okay? If this, but I don't think it does, failure to use it could render the election process non-compliant. That's if, but I don't think that it does. Now, alignment with Electoral Act standard. Even if BVAS is not explicitly required by this law, this by River State law, okay, the Electoral Act of 2022, I think, sets a good standard. So there you are in your right to question, the non-use of beavers. Like you can say, like, why are you not using it? Like this helps elections to be more safe and more secured. And I think that's just the main thing. Yeah, trust and transparency, you need all of that, blah blah blah. Recommendation. Well, I don't think it really matters. Nobody's gonna listen to what I'm saying about that. But again, okay, affected parties can challenge that within 21 days, and we might see that in Nigeria. Almost every election goes to court. We might see that. And it is what it is. Yeah. But let me see how people are reacting to these elections. Let me just see. Let's see what's happening. WIKE here, President Tinubu says he's satisfied with the conduct of course, WIKE is going to be, it's going to be satisfied. Does he have a choice? He's in the administration. Well, what do you expect him to say? What do you expect him to say? Oh, that I'm not. No, he is. He also hailed Tinubu for making sure the election was conducted, saying since the Supreme Court has said there's nothing like caretaker committees in local government, if there are no elected people, funds will not come from the federation account to the local government. So if the emergency rule is lifted and there's no local government election, we'll still have the same problem. Okay, makes sense. But I mean, it's good that we're not even having so much, violence, I believe. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. LG polls open under tight security, movement restricted. Yeah. River State, to be honest with you, has been one of the pain points in Nigeria elections. There will always be one problem or the other. But I think this one so far, still good. It's been fair. No, nothing much. Low voter turnout. So I guess this was 8 hours ago. 6 hours ago, low voters turnout, late arrival of materials. I mean, this is just local government election. Just a local government elections, right? Across River State. I don't know why we always have this issue with late arrival of voting. Yeah, I want to listen to this. Yeah. I want to listen to this.
Do you think it should actually go on?
This election is not right, and political parties should not participate in this election. That public statement also shows that the Nigerian community, by the largest organized body in Nigeria, when I mean the largest is because every citizen belongs to a political party. And so if this body has taken
a political party or a local
say,
government,
no, this should not happen, what is the justification for even going into the election in the first instance? But I'll also tell you that the IPAC is a body, it's a respected and responsible body. Where there are violations to their directives, I also think sanctions will follow. And so that is my take. And on the final lap, the moral in politics. What moral standard are we showing? What is happening in the state today, I think, is a slap on democracy, because it is quite, uncalled for. If in a democratic setting, election that ought to have been conducted by a sitting governor, empowered by the third schedule of the Constitution, and also moderated by the River State House of Assembly, is being done under an emergency rule situation that has created the sole administrator.
Oh boy, see this,
so
see
what are we
this.
saying?
See the lightning,
It is
the
an
guy just be
aberration.
like
Some
angels.
parties have gone to court. The both parties in court. The ADC is in court. Like my own political party, the Social Democratic Party (SDP), we withdrew from the entire processes. We decided not to participate as a party because we must respect the directives of the national leadership of the Inter-Party Advisory Council.
Okay, I agree with him on that. Really, I agree with him that, see, why are you conducting this thing under an emergency rule? Like, why? And I think that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Like, why do you want to conduct it? Why not wait for the guy's gonna be back like very soon, in the next few weeks? Okay. Yeah, so it is what it is. Wow. Upcoming elections, River State, Samuel Oluberry. Oh, really? At 19? That's not bad. But what's she trying to? I guess councillorship or something. Let me see. She's the APC councillorship candidate. Ward 7 in Kaya local government. She was formally presented to party leader and stakeholder by the APC now chairman. Wow. What was sensitization campaign? Okay. Are they doing this to mark history, or they find her competent enough to occupy such position? Is this a joke? He's a no believer. What? Okay, so now, okay. Now, small girl with a big gun. Now it's an issue. She's 19. I thought we've been saying that we want young people to get involved in governance. Although if you look at her face, though, it seems like she's not even sure of herself. But I think I love this. I think this is a welcome development. I don't know. Now, competency is a good question. If the people that are voting sees her to be competent, then good. At least she's going to bring in some fresh mind into the whole process. Okay? I'll think so. That's my thought. But again, well, not bad. Maybe she's going to inspire some older people, instead of them just shouting on X, to join politics and be much more active. River State election will be the first state in Nigeria since the return of democracy in 1999 to have local government chairman and councillor elected in the elections, without a democratically elected governor manning the state. WIKE handpicked River State Assembly members. Now, WIKE handpicked local government chairman with the illegitimate governor to ensure presidential is rigged again in favor of Tinubu in 2027. Okay, yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with this. I don't disagree with this. River State elections, I don't know, crazy.
This will mean for Rivers people. Of course,
I think I've listened to this before. Okay, so that's it. Oh, Simple Barra. The court has declared that River State. Oh no, this is a long one. Okay, that's it. I'm not sure if Fubara said anything. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, this is old news. Okay. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, I'll be back online later today. I just need to get out now. I'll be back online, and then yeah. When I'm back, I just want to go through this. No, not this one. Not this. I want to go through. So there's a tweet. Yeah, I think Sarah Ibrahim is replying Deji, and Deji already went on Channels TV to to make his own voice known or his own side of the thing. I hope Peter Obi gives an interview if he wants to. Now that the lawyers have taken over that case, it's possible that he just wants to keep quiet and let the whole thing, go through the normal process, which is fine. I 100% agree with that decision if that's what he chooses to do. But if he's going to reply Deji Adeyanju, I'm going to also follow that and possibly just, my mind is just to comment. I mean, you don't need to agree with what I say. Even at times, even me too, I don't agree with some things I say later on. But it is what it is. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, we're gonna see what happens. Then when I'm back, also, I want to talk about these passport fees. Amid mounting economic hardship, I think Peter Obi called out the government for doing all that. Again, I have a different opinion about that. I'm going to talk about that. It's just an opinion, okay? Then we could see that Abike Dabiri has been sued because she blocked someone on X. Again, someone also sued Sanwo-Olu for blocking him on X. So all those stories, we're going to be talking about it when I come back, okay? Yeah, thanks for tuning in and thanks for watching.